What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's been a little bit since we have dived back into the podcast. I was working on a strategy for the podcast, because everything I do, it has to be with some sort of strategy and direction. I hope your day is going good for you. We have crossed over into a new month. Things are getting crazy, but one thing that's interesting for me, as I just pay attention to what's going on politically. I remember during the election, a lot of black people, including myself and Ice Cube, for one, had the contract of Black America. And we kept saying, well, let's leverage the vote. Let's, get something out of it. Now, we're going to dedicate the next 3 podcasts to Roland Martin. And the reason why we got to dedicate that to him, he has been the gift that just keeps on giving, ladies and gentlemen. Roland was the biggest cheerleader for Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrats. Roland was crying. You remember that video. He was crying, looking at all black people lining up to go vote to get out Donald J. Trump. And they were celebrating in the streets. Do you remember that? Oh, they were celebrating. They feel like they won the Super Bowl or won whatever you want to say somebody won, what they get in the streets and celebrate. And Biden said that, black people helped me get over the hump. And, you talk about old Jim Crow Clyburn and, they know I always, I got their back. Okay. Well, 6 months in, and what back has he had? Now, Roland Martin here in this first podcast, we're going to dedicate for a 3-part series to Roland Martin, the gift that keeps on giving. He was upset about the For the People Act because, as you know, the Republicans are, trying to do everything they can to restrict voting. Now, let me tell you something. White people in this country never had to worry about voting rights except white women, right? Once white women got their right to vote, they're good. It's solidified. Black people is the only group of people that had to fight for the right to vote. Black people's voting rights is voted on every 25 years, like the Civil Rights Act is voted on again to renew it every 25 years for the most part. Now, you don't vote on white people's voting rights, but you vote on black people. In other words, this was a temporary. This wasn't supposed to be forever. We don't want black people to have any rights to vote. So you're seeing now about the, Joe Biden don't want to get rid of the filibuster. All of a sudden you see these Republican Democrats, and I'm calling them Republican Democrats, like Joe Manchin. But if you've been to West Virginia, if you have to understand West Virginia is a red state. So even if you have a Democrat come out of West Virginia, they're going to be a Republican, just with a Democrat in front of his name, like Joe Manchin is. The other female, Kristen Sinema, out of Arizona. She's another Republican. Beyond with you, Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin should just go on and join the Republican Party. But, that's the Trojan horse that they already knew that was there anyway. You see, let's go back to that Asian hate crime bill. Nobody argued about a filibuster. It passed almost unanimously, that Asian hate crime bill. But when it comes to black folk, well, just like we always said, white supremacy want to keep you enslaved, want to keep you at the bottom. And you have people like Roland Martin is up here telling you, misleading you, to think that the Democrat Party is going to help you and the Congressional Black Caucus is going to help you. None of these people are going to help you. But let's get to Roland Martin because he's pretty upset. He's upset in this video that things aren't going how he thought it was going to go about voting rights. And, we're going to let Roland say some things, and then I'm going to have to stop it here and there because I got to respond as we're playing this. So let's go ahead and get started with old roly-poly here.
President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who was almost a year since we asked her to come on this show, and she hasn't responded. Well, she's responded. The answer's been no.
Let's stop right there. So Nancy Pelosi got an invitation from Roland Martin to come on his show. Roland is the biggest, Democrat cheerleader out there. Roland presents himself as Mr. Blackity Black, Black. I'm this and that and the third. But we all know Roland is, in their back pocket. We know Roland is controlled opposition. We know this. Roland is allowed to talk this way. They still invite Roland to all the luncheons and he's tied in with them folks. Okay. So all that talk that Roland is doing now, it doesn't, like I said, they ain't worried about Roland. Roland is not going to focus on empowerment because when the rubber meets the road, Roland looks out for Roland, and he proves this over and over and over. But Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, she know who Roland is. She knows. But see, Nancy Pelosi don't want to talk to you because in her mind, Roland, you're not relevant for her to talk to. When have you ever seen Nancy Pelosi go talk to any black outlet? It lets you know what you think about black people, Roland. And for her to not even come on your show, for her not even, and then eventually later she told you no, she wouldn't come on your show. Roland, I think you need to reevaluate yourself with the Democrat Party. But we've been telling you, you're silly behind this, Roland. We've been telling you. Well, let's continue.
Y'all better understand something real quick. That is, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. And see, it ain't happened yet, Cliff, but I'm saying to Biden and to the folks texting U.S., y'all gonna look up and gonna find 5,000 people standing in front of the White House gates, chaining themselves to the gate, getting arrested to get your attention.
Okay, let's talk about that strategy. You using an old strategy that's should have been put away, okay? You trying to use what was used in the 60s. Things have changed now. And you know what? When you chain yourself there if you want to, and then they going to just cut the chains off and haul y'all behind the jail. You're not doing nothing by going in front of that White House doing that. You understand? See, Roland, when you was crying, Jim Crow Joe told his rich white donors that nothing will fundamentally change if he gets elected. So Roland, this is what you wanted, brother. This is what you wanted. This is nothing fundamentally changing. See, voting rights isn't in the interest of white society. It's in your interest. And then the bad part about it, that you had all these voting rights for years, you did nothing with them. You let your black politicians be a black face promoting white supremacy. They're no different than a lot of the African leaders that's over there. They get tied in. They can't do nothing for black people. They can't punish white folks when they do wrong, but they get their checks. They get their checks. Now, Roland, you're doing all this big talk. Why wasn't you talking that way before the election? Before he got in there? You understand? But you had all that attitude with Ice Cube when he talked to you on your show about the contract with Black America. When he said demand something for the vote, he said go talk to Trump. Trump even at least had conversations with Ice Cube. Biden didn't even meet with Cube. Then he tells Cube later, well, I'll meet with you after the election. In other words, I'm not worried about y'all. And then when he got in there, he still ain't met with Ice Cube because he don't care. But y'all know what kind of white supremacist Biden has always been. Let's continue.
I'm just saying, y'all keep sitting here joking, because here's the deal, Cliff. If action is not taken in the next 90 days, if you get down to November or December, it's too late because the federal courts are going to say not enough time to implement for the primaries in 2022.
when we point out these Senate Democrats and we point out the White House, you said you had our back. We risked our lives to give you the power. Now we're asking you, we're demanding of you that you use the power that you have in order to protect our voting rights. And in turn, by protecting our voting rights, you're protecting the rest of the agenda, all the other good stuff that you want to get done, infrastructure, living wage, all the other stuff, COVID, ongoing COVID relief, all the rest of the stuff that you want to get done. We want to see that, but what we're trying to tell is you can't have any of that until you protect our voting rights.
Okay, so the next guy followed up and he said, you know, we risked our lives. You actually did in a pandemic. You sure did. Risk your life to go out there voting for Jim Crow Joe. But once again, Roland, you have my God, Roland, are you tired of losing, brother? Are you tired of being on the losing team? Bruh, it's like you getting from bad to worse. I mean, aren't you tired of the Democrat Party just bending you over? Like, are you tired of that? Even black people, are you tired of that? Are you tired? Because, see, the reason why Biden and the Democrats and anybody else politically don't take black people seriously is because you're going to give them your vote anyway. You're going to give them your vote. You didn't do what you would call either. This is how you got the Democrats' attention. Just being honest with you. Either you could have said, okay, I'm not voting for nobody. I'm going to just chill my nerves at my house. Or like some people would do, they would say, I'm going to purposely vote for crazy Trump. And I want them to see how high the black vote is for crazy Trump, just to show the Democrats something. Because you know what? At least with Trump, I know what I'm getting. With these people, let me tell you something. Y'all just don't get it. Yeah, this is why collectively black folks have a problem. We have a problem of not just accepting things for what it is. No political party, the two main parties in America are not on the side of black folk. Give you an example. The Republicans are the type of people that will shoot at you with a shotgun. You will see the shotgun. You will hear the shot. You can maybe get away from it because you will see the Republican coming, trying to harm you. Okay? You will see that. The Democrats have the same mission as the Republican, but they just going to poison your food. And they're going to slowly poison your food until they take you out. You understand? Now, you can get away from the Republican a lot faster because you see him coming. But that Democrat, that's the one that's poisoning you with antifreeze in your meal constantly. And you don't know why you keep getting sick. And you don't know why you're at the brink of death. That's the difference. But the means is still the means. At the end, it's about maintaining white supremacy. And it's about making sure that you are taken out. And they can do this because we don't have no unity in our community. We don't have no unification. Because you got a part of black folk that want to be the boule and thinking they better than the rest of us black folk. You got another class of black people who are the 1% of black society who don't really want to get involved because all their money is tied in with massa and they never really, separated themselves from massa. Like when you get money, learn how to separate yourself to a point where your money can't be touched. Having a lot of safety nets, having a lot of preparation, you know where you're living, making sure everything is right at what you're doing. So you got that group of black people. You got another group of black people that think that white Jesus and Democrat, that's their religion. And you can't vote for nothing else but Democrat and go worship white Jesus at your church house that's not producing nothing. Your church house, you're wasting money in your church house. You're wasting your vote. You're just wasting time. Let me tell y'all something else. These other groups that's getting helped, they didn't go stand in no long lines voting. You notice that? These other groups are focusing on building their economies. That's what they're focused on. What y'all still doing? Rolling, begging about a vote, begging for this, begging for that, begging. Aren't you tired of being a perpetual beggar to your master, Roland, and those of you who follow him? And you know, on YouTube, let me tell y'all something. On YouTube, they have a feature now. They can tell you who watching you. They can tell you like what channels that your audience is watching. Okay. I mean, they give you like about 3 different pages now. They show you kind of like what they watching. And you know what I was shocked about? Beyond with you, I'm talking about on my main news channel. Also my news channels. I was actually shocked that Roland was on that list. And I'm thinking, nah, me and Roland don't talk the same at all. We really don't. But I'm like, oh, I'm trying to figure out that connection. Like, my audience watch Roland like that? I say, okay. I mean, I understand many people watch different things. Yes, I have to pay attention to everything people are doing. And some people could be like me, but some people may say I like both or whatever, and that's fine. People could like who they want to like. I'm not telling you not to like anything, but me and Roland is definitely on one side of the spectrum versus another. We don't really agree on a whole lot. I didn't go on Roland's show a few years ago because he invited me to come on the show a few years ago. I did not go because I said, nah, I'm not fooling Roland like that. I just not. You know, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But this is the thing. Roland is just gotten from bad to worse. I thought it was bad when he was shucking and jiving with Hillary Clinton. I thought that was bad. Okay. And it was. But Roland has been just shameless lately. Like, bro, you got gray all in your beard. When are you going to stand up and be a doggone man? When you going to use your platform to instruct your people in the right direction? To instruct black people to do for self? To instruct black people, let's get together and unify, because you know what's happening right now? Y'all don't see what's going on in this country right now. Voting is not going to get you out of the problems that's coming right now. If you're not unified with your people and prepared of what's about to happen in this country, you doomed. On an individual level, you will be. The individual black people, or anybody for that matter, that's prepared, they don't have too much to worry about. Do you understand that this country is really eroding away a lot of the protections for people who don't really have money like that? And let me tell you something. Black people, if we would work together as a people and say, look, we are all we have, and really we are all we have, we would not need the begging no Democrat. See, if black people would be like the Asians, do you see them talking about, we got to vote? Oh my God, we got to vote. I don't ever hear the Asians talking about voting. None of the Asian groups. I don't hear them saying anything about voting. Do some of them run for public office? Sure. But I don't hear them talking about a vote. We got to protect the voting rights. And listen, I know voting is important. I get that. But, you know, what's more important is unification and building our own schools, our own economy, our own everything. Like, how much more do you need to do that? How much more? You see what's happening in the schools. They're trying to literally teach our children that the Klan is not too bad of a people. They're trying to remove American history, black history. They just doing a lot of BS in schools. And more black people, you know, I even have other Hispanic people told me too recently, pulling their kids out of public school. So now more black people is homeschooling because they ain't got used to it because of COVID. Listen, you got to create your own jobs, because you know what? Automation is coming every day. Robots and computer programs is going to take the jobs away from you. You look at the self-checkout. Self-checkout, I did the research on that. Them machines cost about, I think maybe about close to $100,000 for that machine. Now, let me tell you what the machine is not going to do. The machine is not going to call out sick. The machine is not going to be pregnant. The machine is not going to need vacation or sick time or unemployment or medical insurance or dental or vision. They're not going to need to take no FMLA or anything like that. You don't have to pay a pension or a salary to that machine. So that machine is going to pay for itself with time. And the time is coming, you're going to see every store with self-checkout. It's coming. because it's a win-win for a corporation. Then what y'all gonna do? Some of y'all just working some of these jobs. The service industry, a lot of stores are closing now because of the internet. I mean, Amazon then showed these stores that, wait a minute, you don't really need a lot of brick and mortar. Amazon is killing the game in retail. Nobody's catching up. I mean, that's why malls is starting to even go out of business in a lot of ways because of Amazon. And all these retailers now are trying to compete against Amazon because Amazon just got the game on lock. We all know this. And sure, you can get a job working in a warehouse for Amazon, but shoot, from what we hearing, you know, they cracking a whip over there at Amazon. But we need to focus on, listen, I'm telling you, we as a community need to unify. All that Democrat voting this, all these protections y'all depending on in society. Let me tell you something, it's nothing but a stroke of a pen and a vote can get rid of any safety net program they have because they don't have to give you anything. See, one thing in the African continent, they don't have no food stamps, no welfare, no Section 8. And some of y'all depending on this mess. I mean, you have generations of y'all just depending on that mess. And you have to literally be in poverty to get it. We need to, I'm telling you, especially with this eviction moratorium that they let expire. Oh, yeah, it's about to get real. But see, if you had built your own economy, work together with your brothers and sisters, these people can affect you. You don't see the Asians worrying about this. Say what you want to say about other groups. Long as you unify and work together, we can do this. And listen, it doesn't take much for us to work together. We don't need banks. We don't need loans. We don't need nothing. If we put our money together, we have, crowdfunding now. We have so many ways to work together now to pull things off. But we don't want to do it as a collective. A few people want to, but those people are in the minority. They're not the majority. Some suffering is coming, and voting is not going to get you out of the suffering. The brothers and sisters that's prepared themselves, that got, worked hard, made something of themselves, they're going to be okay. But those of you that didn't apply yourself, you thinking you was going to be on welfare and Section 8 and the government going to take care of you, you got some horrible days coming. And let me tell y'all something that's listening. It's not your responsibility to take care of people that didn't want to take care of themselves. Grown people still depending on the freaking government. Listen, depending on the government should be temporary. Like, man, I lost a job. They got so many jobs opening right now. I'm telling you, those of you that decided to, because not everybody needed to not pay no rent now. Do you think that you wasn't going to not pay rent forever? I mean, nobody could pay almost a year worth of rent. Because let me tell you something. There are going to be so many landlords at the courts. The courts is going to be backed up. They're going to have to fast track the evictions. And they coming. Now they saying that they had money for rental assistance in the coronavirus bill, but the states, but the states is not using it. Well, they're doing it for a reason. They're doing it for a reason. Because they're using this coronavirus to shift some things. You understand? That's what they're doing. Y'all think it's all about the other things they're trying to do to us. But no. Voting is not going to get us out of this. Telling Biden about, no, Biden don't care. He don't care. He don't care about black people. He got what he wanted out of you, a vote. That joker was so bold to say on the Breakfast Club, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. He didn't say, if you don't vote for me, you're not Jewish. If you don't vote for me, you're not Hispanic. If you don't vote for me, you're not Asian. See, he would only tell that to black folk because he know black people is politically ignorant and they will allow disrespect and still go run up there and give him a vote. And that's why Roland up here talking about he got 90 days. 90 days? Man, Biden here Roland probably laughing at this. He probably say, hey, come on, look at this guy. Hold on, play that video. You got 90 days. They probably laughing at him. They are laughing at him. They probably showing it on like, hey, President Biden, look, check this out. Look, Roland Martin talking about you got 90 days. They laughing at Roland in the Oval Office right now. Kamala laughing, Hazadi laughing, everybody laughing at Roland. Talking about, and let me tell you something. Even Roland is gonna be okay. Roland got a few coins. He'll be okay too, But I just say y'all get ready. See, the bad part. This is the bad part, but it may be a good thing too. Black Americans thrive in adversity and hardship. We come out looking like gold. Just like during the pandemic, Black Americans created more businesses than any other group. That's beautiful. That's very, very beautiful. But more suffering is coming. It's coming. You see what's happening out there, if you heard about it in LA, where basically they just criminalizing the homeless. They about to get them out the pocket. Now, I've been to downtown LA last time I was there, and yeah, it's kind of bad. I mean, we got homelessness here in Houston too, but it ain't like LA. I mean, you have a lot of people with mental health issues out there too on them streets, and they smell like urine, and downtown LA, so, and from what I heard from Sister Shirley, it's worse than when the last time I went there. So, and that's Democrats that's trying to get y'all out the plane. And then from what I heard, 80% of the homeless are black. I can believe it because they do not prioritize black folks in that state at all. So, suffering is coming. Suffering is coming. You gonna unify and join with your people wherever you live and work together, or you gonna wither on the vine? And telling Biden what he better do, man, Biden ain't gonna do nothing. But Biden barely trying to remember what he wrote down. He got to be reading notes because he can't remember nothing. Biden ain't remembering you and ain't worrying about you whatsoever. Shoot, Biden, I don't really see Biden as a two-term president personally, but I'm glad that the hardcore people like Roland is really seeing the Democrat Party for what they really are. But we'll keep on with Roland in the next podcast. Oh, y'all got to get ready for the next one because Roland just keep giving us gifts. Oh, Roland, you need to quit, brother.